Okay, so I'm about to try a game of 5 Leagues from the Borderlands by Modiphius. I'm Brian F. Irving. I'm from Gethsemane Games and from DH9 Radio. This is an experiment, really. I've not tried this system before. I've been reading it when I've had an opportunity to do so. So let's see how much of it went in. It's an interesting little sort of miniatures combat game, designed to be played solo or without an opponent. It's the same system as 5 parsecs from home, and it's quite interesting, so I'm going to give it a go. So this is going to be my first attempt, and I've generated a small warband based on some 15mm fantasy miniatures I've got. But actually, for this test play, I'm actually going to use Roll20 to see how it goes. So there's probably going to be a few mistakes in this. I'm not familiar with the system quite yet, but we are getting there. So let's just bring up. Okay, so this is the area that I'm going to be adventuring in. My warband are composed entirely of ferals, which is a little bit unusual, not strictly speaking entirely allowed by the rules, because 2 of the characters are called followers and should really be humans, but in this instance I thought since everybody else is a feral, they're going to be as well. That's largely because I'm a huge cat person, and I've got some cat miniatures, Catman miniatures I really wanted to use. And then, as I say, as it turns out, I'm doing this on Roll20 anyway, but never mind. Ekanath was going to be the avatar in the group, with the avatar's being the point of view character, the one that essentially you're playing as your main character. And the others are supporting heroes and followers to that. Ekanath is a feral mystic catman, named after my Bengal cat, Ekanath, actually. So, the warband has recently arrived in this area. I've forgotten what I've called the area already, anyway, it's 5 leagues from the borderland. The only thing here, the only people here, are a few nomadic tribes that travel about the area, and a single permanent marketplace, Shambhala Market, which is up here in Area 9. And which serves the nomads. It was essentially founded by nomads, and eventually over time some of them kind of stabilised to their position. Currently there is a problem in the region with rat men. There's also a problem in the region with a growing cult of the undead, and with one of the nomad tribes who are invading from neighbouring lands, who want to conquer this region as well, and they're kind of brutal and murderous. So the way the game works is, on round 1 we move into the area as if we're foreign to the area, as if we're not actually originally from here. Small adventuring band or warband of, in this instance, 6 cat people. And this is us here. We've entered here at one of the nomad camps, but you can't actually start directly in the camp. You have to make a travel test to come here. Now I could just use the D20 dice roller, but I recently bought some brand new dice sets, and they only arrived yesterday. I haven't had a chance to use them in anger yet, so I'm going to do that instead. Now technically what I should do is set up my camera and use that, but this is just a little test thing. I'm not going to do that because I would have to get up and go to another room to retrieve my camera, bring it in and set it up, and I am a very lazy man at the best of times. It's later in the day than I'd intended to start this, but I spent a lot of time playing with my cats actually, because they've been very sort of wanting to play today, and everybody has needed a piece of my time today, so I'm starting a lot later than expected. So the first roll is a D100, and you can hear me clacking the clacky maths rocks in my hand there now. 97 on our travel events table. So as Ekanath's warband of cat people are moving into this region beyond the borders that they want to investigate and adventure in, because they've heard great things, including Ekanath has heard tell of an unexplored region beyond these kind of nomad lands that he particularly wants to investigate when he gets a chance, and this is up here by the strange rock formation that his Grand Panther taught him all about. So ultimately he wants to get there at some point. But 97 is what I is what I rolled on the travel thing, and it says here, was it left at the second tree? You are completely lost, but have a travel encounter. See page 114. Set up camp and then roll to travel again the next turn. So page 114, if you can hear some odd noises in the background, that's because my cat Demeter has just come to investigate what I'm doing. She's spotted the clacky math rocks, and I think she's quite interested in those herself. Anyway, let's have a look at the travel encounter and see what actually occurs. So it's another D100 roll. And this time I've rolled, I could have done with certainly light up here, 81. And on 81 we find Keen-Eyed Shepherd. We've encountered a Keen-Eyed Shepherd. This seems to be a very odd place for a shepherd to be, as we're in the wood. Actually, if I take a close look, we haven't quite entered the woods yet, so I would say this Keen-Eyed Shepherd is probably something to do with... Oh, hang on. This is interesting. It's probably something to do with the nomad camp that we were trying to head towards, but seem to have misplaced. So let's find out how friendly the Keen-Eyed Shepherd is. So how the encounter goes, roll D100 on the table below, re-rolling on the appropriate sub-table where indicated. There we go. So that's a 57. I've rolled there, so 57. Sociable. Roll on sub-table. Okay, so sociable meeting table. So this Keen-Eyed Shepherd has seen these cat people approaching and seems somewhat intrigued, but not concerned about them. He's not hostile. Something about our demeanour seems to tell him that we're not hostile for him either. So we have a brief chat. I've rolled a 3 on the sociable meetings table. We have a brief chat before moving on. I'm going to assume that we ask for directions. Essentially embarrassing to admit, but we can't find what we're looking for, which is, we've heard tell of some nomads in the area. We just can't seem to find their camp. I most closely realises that there's only 6 of us. We're no threat to an entire camp of nomads. So he gives us rough directions to the area, slightly longer than is strictly necessary, and then he bids us good day, and we move on. And he dashes back by a slightly closer route to warn the people. There's these strange cat people who seem friendly enough on their way, and then we make camp. Now then, let's go back to page 111 and find out what we do about making camp. Yes, my cat's very interested in now the clacky math rocks and the stuff that's happening on screen. So travel encounter, set up camp, and then roll to travel again the next campaign turn. Okay. So now I feel that there are other things in between the campaign turns. So let me just go back to our visuals. Let's have a look now. Hello, kid. There's a good girl. There's a good kid. Yes, Demeter's now trying to take the dice out of my hands. Ouch, ouch, alright, okay, there's no need to bite. Little swine. She looks as if butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, but, you know, she's a killer. So game rules, the campaign. Okay, setting up, establishing, determine threat, establishing, there's additional points of interest, note down how to. I've done all this in the setting up section. It's a preparation stage. This is interesting. I can't find. There should be a section that tells me the order that things go in. Now I feel I might have noted this in my notebook. No, I just noted the action stage. So, because a campaign turn, as I understand it, is a week, and we're not likely to be able to stay camped for a week. However, I don't see. Campaign structure. Oh no, those seem to have been. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to log off this for the time being. I need to check something. I've just spotted some things that I feel I've probably missed in a setting. Oh, wait a minute, no, those are scenario types. Okay. Scenario types. No, okay, I've got that. Alright. Okay, so as far as I can tell then, it is just our next rule to travel. So our next travel rule is a 75. 75. I need to get back to page 111, which tells me what my. Sorry, the cat's distracting me. She managed to get one of the dice out of my dice collecting tray there. That's a little. Whoa! Stop eating your dice. This is going to be difficult. I might have to go to the things. 111. The online dice roller. At this rate, it might be the only way to stop the cat trying to play with the dice. So I'm on page 111. Ah, yes, of course, the number on the strap and the number on the PDF differ a little bit. So 111 is 113. There we go. So 75. Waylaid by fools, you were attacked whilst travelling. Generate a defensive battle. See page 135 using the roadside enemies table. See page, okay. Defensive battle using the roadside enemies table. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm just going to note those down in my campaign log here. So campaign turn 1. We got lost and encountered a sharp-eyed shepherd who was friendly. After making camp, we encountered falls the next day. Defensive battle. See page 135 using roadside enemies. See page 177. Afterwards you may continue to your destination or set up camp. Well, our destination is the town, the nomad camp, and we now know where that is. So after the battle we will arrive at the camp and try and recover. Well, let's find out what happens in the battle. So page 135. Type that in. and determine 135 will actually be down a bit. 137 in the PDF. Okay, so defensive battle. A sound in the cold air, a movement in the shadows. Enemies are on the prowl, and you must scramble to defend yourself when they are upon you. In a defensive battle, you'll be fighting to fend off an attack by enemy forces. Step 1. Deploy your warband. Set up your warband anywhere within 6 inches of the battlefield. And, well, I feel this is something I should do after I find out what our enemies are. So, let's advance to the 177 page. 177, if I type that in, it'll take me a little bit short of that. So let me scroll down. And let's find out who the enemies are. So, 177. Roadside enemies table. Let's have a look. It's another D100 roll. And we are at 25. So let's see what happens on 25. Ragtag Brigands. More successful bands of brigands often have a reward on their heads. The Duke will pay a bounty of D6 for every leader or unique force slain. On a 5 or a 6 you receive 1 additional gold mark. Okay, so roadside brigands. Roadside brigands. See page 117. Their stats are +4, 5 inches, +2 inches in the dash, +0 in the next. It's +0, +0 for their defense. 3, then 1. And they are armed with 1 self-bow. And the rest will have hand-to-hand weapons. So yeah, these are not a terribly successful group of brigands, but they are worth D6 marks plus 1 mark on a 5 or a 6. Okay, now it's time for me to go back to page 155 and to see how I have to set up the battle. Did I say 55? 135 I think is actually. Probably my own handwriting there. That's unfortunate, isn't it? Okay, 135, so the neutral ground there. Okay, so this is going to take a little while for me to set up. I need to draw a map and set one up in the thing. So I'm going to stop the recording here and start again once that's ready to do. Okay, welcome back to the game. I've managed to set the table up, and if we just take a look at it, we'll see that I've highlighted both groups, the attackers with red circles around them and my warband with green around them. That's just so we can tell who's who. Okay, so it's a defensive battle. We're being attacked by bandits. That means that in order for us to win, we have to kill half or more of the enemy or drive them off the battlefield by forcing them to fail a morale test. If we do that, we can declare victory and still leave the table with enemy troops still on it, and still declare victory. However, if we want bonus for holding the field, we'd have to continue to fight till we drove the rest of them off. So it's possible to win this battle without holding the field. The thing is, at the moment, we don't know the enemy are there. So we have to go over to page, let me just double check that, I think it's 177, it is, because there's an infiltration, it's a series of infiltration. What else do we catch? It's 135. Now we have a distinct advantage here, because ferals are very good at spotting when they're being stalked, especially a couple of my ferals are very good at spotting when they're being stalked. So, with the warbands deployed and the enemy warband deployed, we go straight into the next step, which is not on the right page there. That's why it wasn't showing me the one I thought it was going to show. So, enemies deployed. There we go. The objective, as I said, when fighting defensively, the objective is to fight off the attackers. You have to achieve the objective once half the enemy force rounded up has been slain. There are 8 enemies. We rolled randomly. It's a d6, and there's a number you add depending on what kind of enemy you're fighting. When I rolled these Brigands, they have a +4 to their number, and I rolled a 4, so there's 8 of them. That means they have the numerical advantage on me, and they have the drop on me because I haven't yet seen them coming. So this is not a great position for me to be in. So we begin with the infiltration step. The enemy will try to close a distance before being detected and launching their attack. Select the leftmost enemy figure and move it 4 inches forward, trying to get as close to the warband as possible whilst remaining in cover. Okay, so the leftmost, as we look at the screen, would be this guy here. So he's going to come 4 forward. So he's going to have to use this rock here as cover in order to try and avoid being spotted. Now then, what do we do after that? The next step is normal. Select a member of your warband and roll 2d6. Add 2 if the selected figure has the scouting skill. Modify by -1 if the moving figure is partially obscured by terrain, which it is. And then there's other penalties that are not going to apply here. If the final result is above the distance in inches. Okay, so let me just measure the distance in inches between, I'm going to pick this guy here, so it's 12 squares. So I'm going to have to be 12 in order to spot this guy coming, and that's not going to be easy, I don't think. But let me just see. So I don't seem to be. That's right. Okay, let's pick out. And this is Demastocles. And Demastocles is, I think, one of our followers rather than one of our heroes. Demastocles is a follower. Yep. So he's going to need to roll a double 6 on the dice. So I'm going to roll this on the thing now. So unless I get double 6, then there's no, he hasn't noticed it at all. Once the infiltrator has been spotted, hold on a second. If the final double 6 automatically reveals the infiltrator regardless of distance or position. Once all enemies have completed an infiltration move, I thought as much. So everybody does this now. So this guy is up next. 1, 2. He's going to creep up behind this bush here, and this time we're going to have Telion is going to try. He's also just a follower, so he's going to need another double 6. No, he hasn't. Sorry, that's a single d6 I've rolled there. It doesn't matter though, because it's a 4. Even if I roll another d6 now, I'm not going to get a double 6. So he hasn't noticed him either. So this guy, he's going to find it a bit harder to keep cover because he's a little bit out in the open. So 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're kind of backing up comically along there as well. Now it doesn't have to be a different person checking each time, so I'm going to have Demastocles try and check for this guy as well. So that's another 2d6 needing double 6s, and he didn't. So the enemy are creeping closer, and we have no idea that we're in any danger as of yet. So this guy, trying to use this as cover and this as cover. However, he's kind of out in the open there, so but that's not going to help us a great deal, I don't think, because we have That's 15 squares away, so it's still going to be a double 6 unless Balthazar has any special quality which allows him to spot things. So let's just have a see. Balthazar has hunting instincts, which means he gets +1, I think it is. So a 5 and a 6 would suffice on this. And he hasn't scored it, so he's none the wiser anyway. The enemy continue creeping forward, and their second group are now going to start their move. 4, and we'll have Kanji, who's our assassin. So we'll see if Kanji spots the enemy. He also, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, has hunting instincts. He does actually. I've just realised all of them have hunting instincts because it's natural to the natural to ferals. So all of my side have hunting instincts. So let's just see if he's any closer. He is 12 squares away, so he's still going to need an 11 on the dice in order to spot the enemy, and he scores 9. So he's getting closer. He's a little suspicious. There's something out there somewhere, he thinks, but is it an animal? It might very well be. So he's not too worried yet. He's just keeping an eye. Whereas this guy is going to creep into this position, and again Kanji's going to try and spot him. 2d6. No, he's not noticed that at all. So this guy next. 2, 3, 4. Keeping as low as he can to the ground because there's no real cover, but there is this stone here. Just breaks up the line of visibility just a little bit. Just gives him a little bit cover as long as he stays as low as he possibly can. So again, we're going to need a 5 or a 6 in order, sorry, an 11, a 5 and a 6 in order to spot him. And we don't. So the next guy, 2, 3, 4, and this is our final chance to spot them this round, otherwise they're going to get an awful lot closer. Let me just see. 5 and a 6. Absolutely not. We got a 2 and another 2 on that one, so that's not good. So once an infiltrator has been spotted, no, we're not doing that. If the moving figure is not spotted, select another enemy figure that is not taking infiltration yet. Repeat the process. Once all enemies have completed an infiltration move, start over from the leftmost figure. So apparently we're standing around, not really noticing what's going on. So this guy is going to try 1, 2, 3, and he's going to come into this bush here, but this now means Demastocles is a lot closer. He's now only 7 away, so he would normally need a 7 to spot an enemy, but he has hunting instincts, so 6 on 2 dice will do the job. 7. He's aware he's there, so let's find out how it happens. Once an infiltrator has been spotted, this step ends immediately and you're ready to begin your first battle round. Fight your battle. Now's the time to get fighting. You may abandon the fight by retreating over any table edge. All figures that retreat before you've achieved the objective must roll on the flight in the dark table. Well, right now we have absolutely no intention of running. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to roll 6d6, and whoever rolls higher than their agility. Is it higher than or under? It's under, isn't it? Yes, sorry. Whoever rolls under their agility, we can assign the dice as we need, is able to go in a fast action phase. Anybody who doesn't goes any after the enemy action phase of a slow action phase. So let's just roll 5d6 as a maximum I can do in one go. And then, okay, so I've got 2 1s, a 2. 2 1s and a 2, so that's, if I assign these correctly, for example, if I assign the 2 to Ekanath, Ekanath will be able to act in the fast action phase. So we're going to put a marker on to show that he's acting in the fast action phase. We'll just put a little red marker on there. Now, I've got 2 1s to assign, so I think it would be sensible to use our missile armed humans. So let me just check who that is. And what I should have done before we started, of course, and what I've forgotten to do, is assign the weaponry. So I have a single self bow. Gulps. Is that all I have? But I guess it is. Oh dear me. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to assign the second. I think I've already got it noted who usually carries the stealth bow, and it's Balthazar has the stealth bow. And I've just realised I've marked Balthazar there instead of Ekanath, but that's okay because we've decided that Balthazar is also going to be acting in the fast action phase. So if I can just get this to let me, there we go, and I'll mark that, and one other, so I'm going to mark Kanji as our next one because he's good in a fight. Is Kanji, although we really don't want the enemy to get too close because melee combat in this is brutal, and what we really need to do is to kill these guys before they can get anywhere near us is the ideal. So I'm going to work left to right on my fast action. So Balthazar is going to attempt to shoot this enemy here that has gotten close to us. He's only 10 squares away, so let me just double check how missile combat works. I've only done this once, it was a couple of weeks ago, so I'm just going to double check to make sure I remember how it works. So ranged attacks on page 39. Now we do have limited ammunition, so if we make a roll of a 1 there's a risk we run out of ammunition, but that can't happen on the first round of combat, on the first shot. So ranged attacks to begin, select the target to shoot at. The target must be visible and within range, which he is. Target must visible. Use the following range target properties. Player control figures may select any target unless visible opponents within 3 inches. Yes, that's okay. So we've got a target. He's over 6 inches away. And is he standing on cover? Let me just move him a second to see if he's standing on cover. He is, so he's in cover. So I need a 6 or better on the roll of a d6 plus Balthazar's combat skill, which is sadly 0. So that's not ideal. So I'm going to need a 6 on this d6 to hit the guy I'm shooting at. Oh! Yes! Balthazar sees this guy creeping up on him and thump, puts a shot straight into the bandit that's sneaking up. The bandit, however, has a toughness and he is wearing some very light but still existent armour. So the bandit's toughness is 3. This means Balthazar is going to need to beat a 3 on a d6. And just give me a second. I seem to have frozen. That's unfortunate. Aha, there we go. And so let's roll that d6, see if it overcomes his toughness. So I need to roll a 3 or better. 4, yes, so thump, it's gone into him, unless his armour can save him. So Balthazar needs to beat 1, otherwise the armour deflects the shot. He hasn't, so the shot just tink, ricocheted off the armour, unless I spend a story point to re-roll. Now let's just see how many story points I have. I have 3 story points. So it very much depends, doesn't it, whether my story points. Do you know what I'm going to spend one. I'm going to spend one and I'm going to re-roll it. I don't like to spend them this early in the fight, but there is a lot of these guys. I really can't afford to fail to take one down in the first. So let's, because if I can breach his armour, I've already rolled his toughness. Probably did that wrong way around, really. But it means I will take him down. And that's gone straight through, a chink in his armour, and thump, it's hit this bandit in the chest, and he's taken out. So we can put a big red X straight through him as he goes tumbling down. Actually, I might just take him off completely to avoid confusion, because we can't really see the red X. Well, I don't need to do that actually. All I need to do is shift him back into the map layer so that he can't be moved, and it'll take that red circle around, make it more obvious. So that arrow's gone straight through the cover, straight through the guy's armour, straight into his chest and taken him out. First blood has already been drawn, and Balthazar's already knocking his arrow ready to go again. I'm going to have Kanji is going to act next, so let's just take a look at what Kanji's got and what he's up to. So he hasn't got any missile weapons as far as I recall, as I'm pretty sure the entire group only has that one self-bow that I mentioned earlier, but I'm just going to check, and unfortunately I'm right. Now if Kanji goes forward into battle here, he's liable to get himself into a lot of trouble. He's liable to find himself fighting 3 guys at once, so that's not great. I just noticed Talion's miniature depicts him as having a short assault bow, so I'm going to check and see if he has. Doesn't matter now because he's going in the... He does. I should have given the action to him, shouldn't I? Never mind. That does, however, mean Kanji is aware they must keep Talion alive, so he's going to use his action to run into position here and hold ready to fend off anybody who's going to try and attack our second archer. And now it's Ekanath to go. I've just realised I'm now confusing the issue because I'm taking markers off and I won't know who's on the slow, so let me just make sure I tag those who are going in the slow phase so that I don't get confused and not know who to activate later. Okay, so there we go. So it is Ekanath to go, and what Ekanath's going to do is he is going to try one of his spells, and he's got a spell that we found particularly useful last time, and that's summon. So I need to attempt to summon. I need 2d6 and I need to beat 7. Well, let's just see if we get any bonuses first. So I get +1 to casting, and I think I may be carrying a luck point as well if I need it. Okay, so +1 to casting. I'm going to need to roll 7 or better on these 2 days. 6 or better because of that +1. So if I get better than 6, I've summoned 2 saber-toothed tigers, and I have. There you go. So Ekanath summons these 2 saber-toothed tigers. Sorry, 1 saber-toothed tiger. I'm thinking because in the practice battle I did, he had 2 saber-toothed tigers by the end of the battle, but he'd summoned 1 each time he cast this spell. So saber-tooth tiger. Now that's cost him 1 of his strands, which are these magical things that get burned up when you use... Actually, I don't think I rolled... No, because of the dice roll I rolled, I don't need to. Also, I have a concealed strand. Okay, so let's just find our saber-toothed tiger in the library. I think I've got one in this particular, which again won't open. So there it is. It's just running a little bit slowly. I've got an actual kitty there, but I don't think that's quite as fearsome as the saber-toothed tiger, although I don't know, damn it, I can certainly be fierce when she chooses to be. There we are, 1 saber-toothed tiger. Comes in a little bit larger than is strictly necessary there, so I'm just going to adjust that. Also, it should be next to Ekanath, but it does get to act immediately. Actually, I think that's still a bit larger than is strictly necessary. Let me just... There we go. It has to start next to Ekanath, but it does start immediately, so let me just find the stats for the saber-toothed tiger. And despite the fact that I summoned one last time, I didn't have the sense to record its stats. I just read them off the book, it would seem. So I'm going to have to do the same this time. So there's going to be a lot of jumping around in pages here, I'm afraid. Let me just go back and find, unless I put it in the game. Stat blocks. No, I didn't. Right, okay. That's silly of me. I'll make sure I do that for future, because this I can see being a move that I make a lot. So I need to find spell casting, spell lists, begin on 46, and it's summoning, fog, foresee, fortune, frame, guidance. Weakness, repel, shadow, shield, slow, spell break, summon. So I'm going to record this summoned beast this time. So summoned, actually I'll record them on the back of Ekanath's page. This is where I find I've got them there. No. So summoned beast is agility 2, speed is 6 inches, but can't dash, interestingly enough. Combat is sadly 0. Toughness though is quite good. Toughness is 4, armor is 0, attacks at +0, +0. So that means when it hits, it gets no bonus to penetrate armor. Oh wait, this spell is only usable if you have less than 6 warband members and allies on the table. I didn't notice that, so that's a spell wasted, I'm going to say that. Didn't notice that at all. Actually, let's just see. Ekanath would have known that, so let's just see which spell is cast instead. It's going to have been Premonition instead, I think. So Premonition, let's see what Premonition does. When rolling for initiative, 2 dice may be rolled. Okay, so interesting. So next round Ekanath gets 2 dice on. He gets to pick the best. Right, so sadly, that's us gone. Let's try the enemy's movement now then, so I need to find where I scratted them down. And their speed is 5 with a 2-point dash. So if this guy dashes, well, I'm going to start left to right actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then he's going to dash 2 into cover where he finds his dead friend. He'd probably run out and see if he could save him. Actually, he's got then discovered that no, he's been shot through the chest and is bleeding out too rapidly for him to do anything about. So the next guy up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's keeping this between him and most of the warband, although he is opening himself up to a couple of them because he doesn't really have much choice if he wants to close to the attack range. So this guy's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. That's about the best he can manage. Just realised one of these bandits should have a bow, and I think it might be we'll call it Bandit 4. I've actually got a couple of bandits that are marked with having a crossbow over the back. We'll use Bandit 4 as the one that's actually got us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's going to use his dash to get into cover. He's going to stay put and he's going to take a shot at Kanji, who's also in cover. So he needs to get a 6 to stand a chance of hitting, and that's 2, and that's shot wild. Kanji's not even aware he's been shot at this point. So it's bandit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll come into that cover and this bandit. 1, 2, 3, 5. using that as cover. You can see the enemy's getting dangerously close and starting to flank me, which is a bit of a worry. Damastocles is aware that there are a bunch of enemies coming up on this flank. Now then he's going to have to decide between charging at them with a loping charge. A loping charge means that he can run in and still get an action that round. Normally he wouldn't be able to dash and attack, but he can. So actually he's probably Damastocles 4-3. Damastocles doesn't have loping run, so no, he's not. He's going to instead pull back 2, 3, 4 into cover there. Let me take his marker off. This Teleon can see that we are in extreme danger here as enemies are pouring down the field towards us. They still have the numerical superiority, so he's going to pick the closest target and try and put him down. So that one's 7 squares over here, and that one's 9, so he's going to shoot this one who isn't in cover from where he is. So he's going to have to beat 7. Oh no, sorry, beat 6, I think that is. Let me just check it again. So, spellcasting is what I'm looking for. Combat is ranged attacks 39. So within weapon round 6 plus. It is 1 dice everyone, isn't it? Sort of being roll 1d6. Yeah, I'm trying to get a target. Okay, so I'm going to check my combat bonus. I don't get one, so I'm going to need a 6 to hit this guy because he. Oh no, he's not in cover. He's in open. Within weapon range and in the open, so I need a 5 or a better to hit him. It's gone wild. And because that's his first shot, he doesn't run out of ammunition. This is his first shot of the battle. Had it not been, then he might well have run out of ammunition. So I just need to get. For some reason, it's not popping up his thing. There we go, to take off his little marker. Okay, so Leonidas is up next, and Leonidas is our most ferocious hero. He has a significant toughness, but he doesn't want to have to take on all these guys that are coming for him. There's a lot of them. So, let me see now. He is probably going to... he's going to have to do something. What is it? He's going to, I think, make a dash for this position so that the enemy daren't try and flank the entire party. It does mean he's probably going to have to fight 2 of these guys on his own, of course, which is not ideal. Oh, I could try to get him out the other way. No, I don't think so. We've got a lot of hostiles closing. I think actually he's just going to move into position and I'm really torn about what to do here. Really torn. He does have a good toughness. I think he's wearing armour as well. He is. Bother it, he's going to have to go in. But he doesn't want to go straight in, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he's going to use his dash. 1, 2. Let's put some more out in the open than I would like, but it should draw the enemy away from our main body of troops, hopefully. And that's the end of the combat round, so we have to roll dice again. So let us begin. Now I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this because Ekanath rolls 1 extra initiative dice, doesn't he? So what we'll do then is I'll just roll 7 dice. I'll have to roll 5 and then 2 actually. So I've got 2 1s, 2 more dice rolls, Ah, damn it. And I don't think anybody has an initiative of 3, so I think what we're going to be doing here, unfortunately, I'll give 1 to Ekanath, because he was the reason. Well, I don't know, I won't actually, because it was both generated in the first. I'll say that the 2 separate dice rolls were Ekanath double roll, so I'll give them 1 to Balthazar and another 1 to Telion, so that the 2 archers get to go first this round, and everybody else goes after them, after the enemy, in point of fact, which is not at all what we would like, but is what's going to happen. These enemies are quite nasty, actually. I'm going to be lucky to pull through this without something going seriously and horribly wrong, but Balthazar, kind of flushed with his success the first time, is going to draw down on that target bandit number 2 who's stuck his head out of cover there, and Balthazar's going to try and shoot it off. So he has a self-born, no bonuses or anything. No, that's not what we want to see. No bonuses. Okay. So you need a 5 or better to hit. Yes, that is hit. So that shot takes the guy who's running out from behind cover there, and let's see if it manages to get through his armor. Let's roll for his armor first. He has 1 point of armor. So if I roll a 1, it's stopped. If I roll anything else, it got past the armor. 4. So I passed the armor, but can I breach the bandit's toughness of 3? So I need a 4, 5, or a 6 to bring him down. 6! Yes! So it shot him straight through the throat, and he goes down gurgling and spitting and coughing blood up as he goes down. So it's becoming a bit of a bloodbath on that side of the proceedings, which is nice for us, not so much for the bad guys. That means they're going to need to start taking morale tests now, which is good for us. So let's move that down onto the map there. So our second shooter is Telion, and he's going to aim. If this guy's out of cover, he'll aim at him. He is out of cover, so he's making a dash over open ground. So Talion's going to attempt to shoot him down as well. So he needs a 5 or a 6 to do that. 1. No, that's a miss. And that's the second time he's rolled a 1. He's run out of arrows. He's turned up in this dangerous part of the world with 2 arrows to his name, the clown. Okay, so I need to mark the fact that he can't shoot anymore. So I'll put that on and hope that reminds me that he can't shoot from now on. Balthazar's already had his goal, so let's take that off. So moving left to right, it is the enemy to go. I just need to check the phases of this thing, because so it might be I might be in luck here. So initiative, quick action phase, enemy action phase, slow action phase, then it's the tracking phase, which is when they need that morale test. So the enemy action phase. So this guy's going to try and take out Demastocles. He's got to get to him to do that though. So he's going to make a 5-inch move. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he's going to dash because he doesn't want to be out in the open with all those archers. So he's yelling to his friends to get those archers down and give him some cover as he goes dashing across to Demastocles. Bandit 1, I think, will be the next to act. He seems to have gotten himself detached from his own group and gone over there a bit, but he's going to come in as fast as possible. So 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's not quite in hand to hand. He's not quite close enough. He can't dash into base-to-base contact, so he's going to be stuck there. Bad luck for him. So this bandit is going to come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's made it into hand-to-hand combat with Kanji, and he'll be the attacker. Now, this might actually be the worst thing he could have done for himself, but he wouldn't know that, because Kanji is our assassin. So, fingers crossed for Kanji. So the way this game works is in hand-to-hand combat, you fight a clash with 3 exchanges in it, providing everybody's still up and running at the end. So the attacker rolls first. I'm just going to refresh my memory exactly how this is done. So select the one. So he selected his weapon. He's got a hand-to-hand weapon, and Kanji has selected his weapon. He will be using an axe. Select a tactical option. So Kanji will select the tactical option to... he can't fight furiously because he's not the attacker, which is a shame. We would have liked to have done. So now he's just going to have to fight normally, unfortunately. He can't take one of the tactical options. Well, he can take one of the tactical options, but he wouldn't be able to do the other guy any damage, and he would like to try and do that. So the enemy is going to attempt to resolve the first exchange. So, tactical option. So 2 dice. Roll a d6 for each character, adding their combat skill to the roll. Okay, so Kanji's actually not as good as I thought he was, so he doesn't get to add anything, but neither does the bandit. So it's just a straight dice on dice roll. So the bandit's the attacker, so his dice rolls first. He rolls a 4. Kanji needs to beat that, ideally, and he did. So Kanji's managed to not only block the attack, but he's forced an opening, and he's driven his blade into the enemy. But can he penetrate the guy's armor? He would need to beat a 1, so he probably can. He can. Now then, he's now going to beat his toughness of 3, but Kanji's using an axe, and he, doing so, it is +1 to his roll to beat the guy's toughness. So the guy's toughness is 3. So Kanji needs a 3, but he gets to add 1 to the dice. So he rolled a 3 anyway, and he got a +1, that's a 4. So this guy's come running in, and Kanji's immediately parried him and thrust the blade into his guts, twisted it and pulled out as the guy collapses to the ground, gasping and stunned by the fact that he is bleeding out at a rate of knots. He can't believe his bad fortune and how tough these cat people are as his eyes widen in desperation as he begins to expire. Too much? Maybe a little bit. Let me just pop him on the map there, because he's now become just scenery, essentially. And that was the first exchange. Kanji took him out immediately. That's got to give Bandit, whatever this guy is, 1 would seem a pause for thought, you would think, wouldn't it? But we do have other guys busy here, so we've got Bandit 4 to go next. He could try and shoot Kanji, but he would need a 6 to hit him. So he might instead attempt to shoot Leonidas, but let's just say, because Leonidas is right at the back there, and he might be out of range. He's 14 away, and I don't actually know the range of the bow off the top of my head, so I'm going to need to double check that. So skills, follows, initiative actions, armor, weapons, 60. So let me just have a look. Self bow, range 18, so he is in. So a 5 or a 6 will give him a hit on Leonidas. 5! Oh no! Leonidas is hit. As he's dashed across into the open air there, he's been shot by this sniper. It was, to be fair, told to cover the other guy, but he sees Leonidas and he's trying to take for that shot instead. Let's see, Leonidas is wearing armour. The guy needs to beat 2 on this dice roll to get past his armour. And he didn't. So it's deflected off Leonidas' armour. So as he rushes across to the next point of cover, this arrow, pink, hits his armour and bounces off. Leonidas thinks, I wonder if I should run back over to Telion and take this arrow with him, or if I should continue with what I had planned. He doesn't have time to make that decision, however, because these 2 bandits are racing down towards him to attack. And they're both going to close in on him. 2, 3, 4, 5. Desperately trying to make it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they fall short. So that's the enemy action phase gone. And it is now. I wonder what that noise was I just heard. Seems to have something to do with my tone. That's a tone I've not heard it make before. That could be anything. It seems to be TikTok. Okay. Chatting with the thing it tells me every day. Okay, so it is now the slow step from my side. So I'll start with Leonidas because he seems to be a busy chap. He's going to sidestep here to here and attack this guy. Attempt to attack him on the flank. So he's come into the attack. So he's the attacker. So he's going to fight ferociously because he's a lion. And he's going to prove it to him. So he's going to make a ferocious attack. Which, if we just check page 39, I think it is. No, that's missile combat. Maybe combat 40. Ferocious attack. Fight furiously. Attack only. The character rolls normally. If they win, they add +1 to either their overcome toughness or overcome armor rolls. So on the first exchange, he's attacking ferociously, and he is going to roll to hit in this exchange first of all. But his combat skill is +1, so he gets to roll a d6 and add 1. So that gives him a 4. Whereas Bandit 8 only gets a d6. That's a 1, so the bandit taken somewhat askance by this ferocious lion man, roaring loudly and coming charging in with this massive bastard sword that he's wielding. He's going to swing. He's not going to add the +1 to hit the armour because he's pretty sure he can breach his armour. And he did. So he's going to take that +1 for his ferocious attack and add it to his attempt beat the guy's toughness. He also gets a +1 against the toughness because of his bastard sword, so the guy's toughness only saves him on a 1. 2. No. So as Leonidas comes racing in ferociously, he swings his great big bastard sword and hacks the guy's head clean off his shoulders in a single blow, roaring his victory to any who will listen. Well, nobody had much choice about the matter. Everybody hearing it, to be frank. So we'll just pop this guy down on the map layer as well. And the enemy's looking pretty bad, actually. There's not many of them left. There's 2 on the right flank unit and 2 from the left flank unit. There's 4 of them left. They're down to half numbers, which means we've already won the game. We can choose to leave the field and declare a victory if we wish to, but then we wouldn't get the bonus for having held the field. So well, we don't need to make that decision right this second. It's Kanji to go next. So Kanji is going to take this bandit on. He's going to step forward and strike. He's the attacker, so he's also going to attack furiously. Kanji is going to roll his d6. 4. The enemy's d6. 2. So Kanji leaps at this guy, slashing savagely. He's going to not add his bonus to the armor roll. He's going to add it to the toughness roll. So, oh no, wrong choice, Kanji, because the armor's glanced the blow off. So ferocious or not, no go. So that was the first exchange, but there are 3 exchanges per round in melee, so still attacking ferociously. I'm just going to check you can apply it in each of the exchange character roles normally. If they win, they may add +1 to either overcome toughness or overcome armor. When selecting a tactic and it's cumulative on their weapon bonus, if they lose, they suffer a hit. The tactic is not selectable. Counter attack, right? Okay, no, that's all fine. So he is still attacking furiously. D6. He's rolled a 4. The enemy has rolled a 2. So the enemy's really fighting on the back foot. As Kanji comes in again, he's not going to apply it to his armour. Can't be unlucky twice. So he's hacked straight through the armour, so he'll add it to his overcome toughness. He gets +1 for his bastard sword as well, so he's already on 2. So only on a 1 does he fail to bring this guy down. He's rolled a 6. So he's eviscerated him, he guts him. And this bandit goes and down heavily on the ground with his intestines spilling out all over that rock that he was hoping to use for cover earlier on. Becomes slick with his blood in moments. Well, they are having a bad time of it, these guys. Maybe they'll think twice about attacking poor defenseless kitties on the road in future. Bastards. Okay, so Kanji's action is taken and Ekanath is to go. Well, actually, don't really think there's a great deal Ekanath needs to be doing at this point. You can see what he's doing from where he is. He can command his group, who are doing everything he needs them to do. I don't really think he is going to bother to do anything. He might move into cover. We'll have him move into cover. There we go, and that's him done for this round. Now I do just need to check on that spell and see if that's a spell that affects just the round after it was cast, or if it's one of the ones that works for the entire game. So spell casting again, 45, running down, that was fortune, no, it wasn't fortune, was it? What was it? Premonition. It only works for the next initiative roll, so there's nothing more for him to do. And it is time to make our next set of dice rolls. So we're going to start everybody else, and then let's just roll. Let's just roll 7 dice, 6 dice this time. Just to get a closer look. I have a 2. Whoops, a daisy. Sorry, ignore the second set of rolls. I have a 2, which can be used by either Ekanath or Kanji. And let me just roll the last one, because if I can get a 1 as well, which I didn't, so I've got 2 2s, so that's Ekanath and Kanji. Then, oh no, wait a minute, I've got a 1 in the first round as well, so that's Ekanath will use a 2, and he'll be able to go first. Kanji will use a 2, and he'll be able to go first. So that's 2 2s and a 1. So I think we'll have. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to give it to Leonidas, and he's going to go in first as well. So Telion goes in the slow phase. What we haven't done though is we haven't rolled. We haven't actually completed last round because I've forgotten to roll the enemy's morale. So they roll. Let me just check the morale rolls. I seem to think they have to roll. It's something to do with the number of troops they have left. It's either 1 or 2d6, and they've got to score less than or equal to the number of troops that they've got left. But I just need to check that. Enemy morale, page 51. Well, that's interesting. If we click that, it actually doesn't take you to page 51, it takes it to page 1. Yep, so that's obviously a failed bookmarking problem. That's nothing too much to worry about, so it's just 551 manually. Like primitives. So 50, running away, enemy morale. In the tracking phase, tally up the number of enemy figures that were removed as casualties of this battle round. Right. Well, d6 per figure removed and tally up the number of natural 1s and natural 2s. These are morale failures. For every morale failure, remove 1 enemy. Okay, natural 1s and 2s. So it's roll d6 per figure removed this round. Well, that's Leonidas brought 1 down, Kanji brought 1 down. Did we shoot 1 down as well? I don't think so. So it's 2 dice, and on a 1 or a 2, we start removing bad guys. So we've rolled, that was 1 dice I rolled there, I think, wasn't it? Yes, it was. 2. So we lose somebody, and the way the morale works is you start with the person closest to their side's board edge. So that would be their archer. He goes running away as quietly as possible. I'm not going to say screaming because he doesn't want these ferocious cats knowing that he's there. He's off. He's had enough. And I'm going to have to bring him back down there to delete him. There we go. He's going to sneak away and have nightmares about Catman for the rest of his life, I should imagine. Which will be considerably longer for having had the common sense to run away. So, our actions next, and actually I've probably made a mistake here by not having anybody that could have intercepted this guy. Never mind, I will start with Leonidas. He's going to run in on the attack and ferociously attack this guy, so he gets +1 to hit. So he rolls 7. The guy cannot win, he cannot beat that. Let's see what he... Oh, he did get a 6, so anything other than that ferocious attack, and that would have just bounced the pair of them off each other. But no, because Leonidas is so ferocious, he's managed to get that attack straight through, and he is going to roll normally against armour, because he only fails on a 1 here. He got through the armour, so he's adding the 1 to overcome toughness. He's adding 1 from his bastard sword to overcome toughness, so he's on 2 already. He only has to beat 3, and he's rolled 3. So that's 5, and he's brought this guy down. He goes crashing to the ground as well. So he's taken out of the fight immediately. That's not coming up. Okay, well, I don't need to worry too much about that, I suppose, if I can just shift him over to the... Ah, there we go, fuck, he's down. Leonidas has acted, so it's him gone, so it's Ekanath next. He's going to... I'm just going to check Ekanath's spells, actually, because if there's anything that he can do to intercept... So what shadow? That sounds interesting, doesn't it? Let's see what shadow is. Spells. Spell list 46. Shadow. Shadows. Target may immediately move to any location within 4 inches of their current position. Can be used to move through impassable obstacles or walls, but both the original and new position must be visible to the mystic. Okay. So you can move anywhere within 4. Interesting. I don't think I'm going to cast it. I think I'm just going to do a looping run instead. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, dashing over towards Demastocles, desperately trying to get there in time to help him. Kanji's going to do the same. He's going to run over and try and intercept this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. So he's run all the way to there to try and intercept them to stop Demastocles getting caught. Meanwhile, this last guy is absolutely unaware of the fact that all of his friends have either abandoned him or died. It's now his goal, his turn. go. So he's got his eye on Damastocles, but now he can see Kanji coming up on him from the flank. He's going to have to try and fend him off, I think. So he's going to run into combat with him. Now he's the attacker, so he will, and Kanji, I think, will attack defensively because he knows that next round this guy's probably going to run away. So he is going to fight defensively. Oh, wait a minute, can he make yes, he can, actually, he can. So it's page 39, isn't it? Remember rightly, page 39, no, 40, no, we call it page 40. So he's going to go defensive or evasive. What's the difference? Defensive, the character rolls twice and picks the best roll. If they win, they inflict no hits. This tactic negates all possible sources of the counter-attack ability. Or fight evasively, the character rolls normally. If they win, they inflict no hits, but may move 2 inches, ending in maybe this tactic negate. No, he's going to fight defensively, so he's going to roll 2 dice and pick the best one. He won't inflict any damage even if he wins. So he's just taking the guy's attention away till everybody else can pile in. So he's rolled a 6. He's going to pick the 6, obviously, of the 2. So the other guy, the best he can do is bounce off him with a 6, because he doesn't get any bonuses to his combat. He also scores a 6, so he almost hits Kanji, but Kanji's defensive stance allows him to manage to just deflect and step backwards slightly. So it's the second exchange. Just realised I rolled those 2 the wrong way round, actually. Should have done it the other way around, because Kanji's the defender. But anyway, on the second exchange, I'll do it the right way around this time. So the attacker rolls a d6 and scores 4. Kanji gets 2 dice and has to beat 4 on one of them. And he does, he scores a 6 again. The guy becoming increasingly infuriated by the fact that this cat's just dodging him left, right and centre, makes one last stab for his face, and Kanji will easily, a 6 again, easily duck under that, almost laughing at this poor bandit. It stands no chance at all of landing a blow on the much faster reacting Catman. So that is the end of the enemy's go. So it's all the slow actors now. So Talion will rush in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Hasn't quite arrived in combat. He would be close enough to shoot, but he's fired all of his arrows because he only brought 2. So Balthazar instead. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to move to there and take a shot. Now you can shoot into melee, I think. Actually, I'm going to say he's not going to, because I can't remember if he can in these rules or not. I'm going to look that up before the next session. But I'm not going to have him do it now. I am, however, going to have Damastocles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He comes rushing in and can attack, so he will. And like all of these catmen, he's going to be. Actually, Damastocles is a follower, so even though he is aesthetically a catman, I've actually used the human traits for him, so he doesn't get. Oh no, actually anybody can use ferocious. Doesn't have to be a catman. He's learned from watching his other catmen friends, and he's a catman himself. So yes, he's going to attack furiously as well. So he gets d6. He's only scored 3 though. So let's have a look at the other guy. The other guy only scores 2. That's fantastic. So he's hit. He's hit the bandit. He's not going to use his wand to overcome the armour, because he overcame it anyway. He is using a spear though, so he doesn't get any bonus for the weapon. But he does get +1 for attacking furiously. So he rolls a d6, he's got to beat 3, gets +1. He rolled 3, that +1 is just enough to take him over, and he comes rushing in with that spear and thrusts it straight through the man's chest, killing him instantly, absolutely instantly. And that's the last bandit down. Only one escaped with their lives, and none of our warband was even slowed down really by the sudden attack of these bandits who one will be telling stories forever about what happened, I think. Telling them. I can't seem to change his lace, so I'm not going to bother. The battle's over anyway. The guys have won. They've brought these enemies to their knees. They've killed 7 out of the 8 bandits that attacked. That went quite well. I'm quite pleased with that. So now what we need to do is we go over the defensive thing to see the after action. So it's 177. Page 177. Let me see now. That's roadside encounters. It is. It was 25, wasn't it? We rolled to get that. Yeah, ragtag brigands. There we go. So the Duke pays a modest bounty. Roll 1d6 for every leader or unique for slaying. Well, there was only one leader in the group. I didn't really establish who it was, so we're going to assume it's the man that got away, actually. So yeah, they're not going to get about it. We're going to assume the man that got away is the leader. I couldn't find anything about how you select leaders and how they differ from the rest of them, so I need to look that up for next time, I think. So instead, we need to do a... so poor prospects, any valuables generated from the loot tables are worth 1 gold mark less than normal, so we need to find the loot tables and see what we found on these 7 dead bandits or brigands. So loot tables, that sounds interesting. Let's see what we can find. We find the loot tables first of all. Oh, quite nice. Creatures must file, adventures, resolutions, loot. There we go, 196. Treasure valuable equipment and useful tools to ensure your survival in short loot. After a victorious battle, you have a chance of obtaining something for your troubles. If you defeated an aberration, you receive loot rolls equal to the monster's reward rating. Otherwise, you receive 1 loot roll if you achieved your objective, which we did. Note that holding the field does not award a loot roll in itself. You need to have achieved the objective, which was to kill half of them. We well and truly did that, so we get a loot roll. So, we roll a D100 for that. That's our D100. We scored a 6, which means we scored some valuables. So we roll on the valuables table next. Find out what we win. That's a D100 as well. 10. We found a bag of coins. Now there should be D6 marks in, but these were a poor prospect, so we get 1 mark less than the dice roll. So let's find out what we rolled, what we got. 4. We should have found 4, but because these guys were kind of poor, we only found 3 gold marks. And that to our pool of 5. That's 5. So that's 8. 8 gold marks that we found. That's good. That will help us with our support roll this time round. So that's the battle fought. Now I need to find out what other after battle bonuses we get, and for that I might have to go looking through the rules, which are let me just see. Movement, terrain, non-combat, action, spellcasting, story points, unusual situations. Yes, I'm going to have to look this up, I think. Find out that. And so I'll close this recording down for now, and I will let you know when we do the next one what story points or adventure points we might have gained for that, and what other after battle things might have been relevant. But for now, that was the, well, technically second, because there is a training mission in the game that you play to help you learn. So, but it was the first of Ekanath's Panthers, the first action for Ekanath's Panthers since they reached the wild lands 5 leagues beyond the Borderlands. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed watching this live play of this solo miniatures game on Roll20. You can pick up a copy of the game from all the usual places. Modiphius Entertainment are the people who are responsible for the game. You can buy it from the Modiphius website, and of course from Drive-Thru RPG, which is where I bought mine. It's where I buy most things, if I'm entirely honest. Of course, you can order it as either a printed book or as a PDF, which is how I buy all of mine. Because many moons ago, when I was a young gamer, I actually injured my shoulder pretty severely from carrying around all my gaming books to various gaming clubs and whatnot that I used to do. I used to carry on first edition Dungeons and Dragons, all the big heavy hardback books, about 20 of them, in a bag with a strap over my shoulder, and eventually I damaged the shoulder quite severely. So I now just buy everything as a PDF and carry one laptop. That's a much safer proposition. But you can pick these up as a book if you prefer, from Modiphius Entertainment or from RPG Now, and all the usual places as well. Hope you've enjoyed. There's my phone run off. Hope you've enjoyed watching me play, and hope you like the game, because I do. I must admit I quite like it. So thank you very much for tuning in. It just remains for me to say, do stay safe, take care, but from me, for now, good night. Music by Tabletop Audio and is Fog of War. The rule system is by Modiphius Entertainment. Your host was Brian F. Irving.